And we're off! Welcome to the 51st episode of the Brave News channel. I am your host, Shali, and we're here with the amazing Risky. Say hello, Risky.
Hello.
Welcome once again, our great producer, as we start this fantastic episode of the Brave News channel. Of course, the show that brings you all of the hottest information for our fantastic application, Brave Frontier Global, available to you guys on iOS, Android, Amazon devices, as well as Windows, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, it feels like it's been a while since I've done this, and for some reason my rhythm is off, but it must be because we're getting into the winter, and it's getting cold, and it's getting dark, and it's making me feel sleepy, and I don't want to get out of bed in the morning. But Brave Frontier always gives us a reason to get out of bed in the morning, motivation for the day, because you gotta log in, you gotta spend that energy, you gotta go do your dungeons, you know, etc., etc., etc. So, without further ado, let's see what's coming up for the winter, for the month of December, the very, very festive holiday season. Risky, can I pass things off to you?
All right. So as Shali said earlier, that we have more reason to actually log into Brave Frontier because there is a new content mode coming to the game itself, which is the Frontier Spire.
Yes.
Wow. This is a completely new kind of like a content mode, not just your usual Vortex, but it's kind of like closer to our Frontier Hunter and Frontier Hunter kind of thing. Frontier Gate. And we will be having the Spire will be using Hunter Orbs as well, and it will appear in the Arocas survey office. There is a little bit more detail here as the content itself is currently in development. There might be some minor changes here and there, but what we can gather from the team at the moment is that the event itself will be a time-limited content, and it will run for a few weeks, and it will be off for a while as well, for a short duration. Because this event itself is using the Hunter Orbs, sharing the Hunter Orbs as the Frontier Hunter. So the most likely that it is going to go for offline when there is a Frontier Hunter, so that it doesn't clash.
Okay.
Yep. So Frontier Spire will be refreshed every month, and there will be like multiple floors for you to attempt to, and each floors will be having their own reward, and this floors reward will be reset every month. So every month actually you can it's a good chance for you to stock up for gems, summon ticket, and other special limited materials and items as well. So I think this will be one of another motivation for players to use the Hunter Orbs and come back for more challenging content, because the content will be divided into floors and sections. There will be like, if I'm not wrong, there will be like more than 50 or 60 floors at the moment in plan.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you
And
know
then,
how many battles each floor?
Yes, there will be battles, a few battles each floor, and then
okay.
for each of the floors you will get a unique reward, and the difficulty of the battle itself will increase gradually by each floor. So you would expect the highest floor will be really difficult.
I see. Okay, so I mean, a spire is a type of tower. So basically, you start from the first floor, and then you work your way up. And then the more that you climb the spire, the more challenging the content will get.
Right.
It's the short version, I guess.
Yep.
Right.
Something like that. Yes.
All right. Well, sounds interesting.
And actually, one more interesting thing is that during the downtime itself, there will be the Spire will be so-called shuffled and rearranged, so that the monster's configuration for each floor will be changing. So I think here the key is to prepare your squad against multiple kind of like enemy combination.
Right.
Yeah, and each month it will be different, so it will be unique and challenging for the players as well.
Right. So you can't expect to have the same monsters appear in the same place every single time. You have to
Yep.
be prepared for anything,
Yep.
basically.
That's right.
I see. All right, very cool. We can't wait to see
Alright.
this in action and get to play it, see how it goes.
And of course, collect all the gems and summon ticket. Yeah?
Yes, gems and summon tickets are always very nice.
Save it for
Have to
for the good summon.
And the crescent dews too. Crescent dews are very, very nice, I have to say.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right, moving on to the next announcement, we have the Vortex Arena Season 5. Now, this is a new season. As usual, the new season will start with the fire element. And for this new season, there will be also new rules. So right now, there is a BB activation cost cap and some disabling of skill types, LS, CS, BB, and other things. There are sphere nullification as well. So we got to see which rule applies on which particular battle later on in the announcement itself. And there are like a variety of conditional limitation for each element. So I think the team just want to come out with a new season that is more interesting than the previous one, because in the previous season we have been applying the same rules or the same kind of like a fixed rule for each season.
Right.
But right now they want to have some variations across the element. I think it's a really a good idea because there are some kind of element imbalance between some element are like having a really good set of units and some are not so much. And then with this variation, I think the strategy will be much more I don't know, like more interesting, I think.
I mean, it's the more rules that you have to follow, the more challenging that it becomes. And Vortex Arena is one of those things that it's fun to do because you can climb up the ranks, and the more that you climb the ranks, the better like the rewards get. But everything is so automatic that you really don't
Rely on
have to
idea.
think much about it. As long as you have a good squad, you just go in there and then it's just whatever happens. But with these types of rules, then it could really just be anybody's game. Like whereas before you would be guaranteed to win every single time because your squad is just that good. If you go in and these types of rules are in place, then they might not favor you like this one particular time, and then you might find yourself losing more often than you would without these rules. So it will be a little bit more difficult to get that like consistent result every single time, which makes it more interesting, I think.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, like I remember when arena rule was first introduced. I think it was a really good measure. Not so much on like making the game more like challenging, but it's more like it's kind of like a random rule that appears, and you don't know like if your squad is not prepared. It can be a flip of situation, you know. It's unlike like the current arena, like you can technically win anytime if you smartly choose your opponent. Yeah, so yeah, I'm really looking forward for this next Vortex Arena. So yeah.
Cool. All right.
All right. So moving on. So we are going to the detail of the Vortex Arena Season 5 Infernal Showdown. So we are going to have some adjustment to the daily and overall rank rewards. More detail will be announced later.
Okay.
There will be exclusive spheres in overall rank rewards as well. 1 to 1,500 will be neon back, and 1,501 to 6,000 will be sneak spoils. So it's the two images that you see on the left side. And there will be additions of Boar's Esteem. That's for the one from the reward from the previous Vortex Arena, and some adjustment of the item cost as well. Right. But what do you think of the spheres, Shali?
Well, these are the most futuristic nunchucks I have ever seen in my life. Not only are they very futuristic with all like the neon details on them, but the snake head designs is also very interesting as well, because usually the nunchucks that you see are not really that like elaborate. They're just like a stick, and sometimes they have like spikes on it, and that's like the most that you see. But this is a very interesting take on this particular weapon that, not only the functionality, but also making it like appealing and making it represent the unit that it will, that it's tied to, just like our previous Vortex Arena spheres as well. So really cool.
It's a big hint on what unit that is coming next. Yeah. Well, we have the new unit which is based on snake design. It is called Rhyne.
Rhyne.
Rhyne, yeah. So, Shay, do you want to introduce the unit?
Oh, sure. So Rhyne, as you guys can see here, is a very, again, she has this futuristic theme happening with her because of all the neon lights that are about her. And she is about like that neon life kind of life. I guess you can think of her as a raver. If you know what a raver is, there are those people who go, to the clubs with like the neon glow sticks and they just like dance around and they like move in and they create like the lights. They like playing with that kind of stuff as they're dancing around. So Rhyne is based on the snake of the zodiac, which is, explains the symbolism on the nunchucks from the previous spheres that we just mentioned. And Rhyne is usually like very calm and collected. She's kind of like the person that just waits for her time to strike like a snake would. They're very silent, very sneaky, but also very deadly. And they can move very, very well. And with that comes dancing. So Rhyne kind of finds a purpose to her human form in the form of dancing as she's walking around the streets of the mortal world, and she sees all these clubs and all this nightlife happening, and she's like, hey, these dudes, like, they move like kind of like a snake would, but I'm an actual snake, so I can do it better. And she just kind of like dance battled like everybody around her and just completely destroyed them. So not only can she dance battle, she can also battle with her nunchucks. So she's both deadly on the dance floor and deadly on the field. So she can do both things. She's a very interesting character. I don't think we have a lot of dancers anymore in Brave Frontier. Like at the beginning of the game, we had quite a few because it is like a popular RPG role or RPG job, especially in like JRPGs. But we don't really see them that often anymore. So Rhyne is back with a whole new like modern take on this dancing that the new kids are doing these days, I guess.
New kids.
Yeah.
She looks like a hip assassin, I think.
Yeah, so she's not, her lore doesn't really say anything about her being like an assassin. If anything, she's just really, she knows exactly where to step and where to move and where to place her arm in what place in order to like be the most efficient either dancer or fighter that she can be. So she kind of does look like an assassin for hire type of deal, but her story says otherwise. So it's a little bit deceiving, I guess, her looks. But my favorite part by far of Rhyne, I know that the nunchucks are cool and whatever, but I just love her hair. Her hair is absolutely amazing. I love her 7-star hair, and then she gets those dreads.
Yeah, I love both hairs actually. I can't choose one.
Love her hair. I'm in love with her hair.
The dress is just like so, I don't know, so unique to her because we barely have characters with dread, I guess.
Yeah, we don't really delve into this kind of I don't like neo-futuristic type of clothing except for maybe like Giselle. She kind of has a little bit of like futuristic stuff because of like her particular line of work. I'm talking about like recently made units. We tend to do more, if anything, like traditional looking units. A lot of them with like a Japanese feel, you know, a kimono here, a yukata there, a hakama there as well. So this is, I feel, a design that we haven't tried in a while, so it's exciting to see. I love the color palette. The color palette is also very, very good. She's just a cool looking lady who does really cool stuff and just likes to dance and have a good time, but she will also kick your ass if you if she needs to, basically.
Can't wait for the release, huh?
Yeah, so she should be cool. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to her and for her to help you on the new Vortex Arena season. Yeah, okay, so well, that's it for Vortex Arena. Now we're going to go and talk about a new storyline coming to Brave Frontier. This new storyline is going to be called Altered Destiny. And I have been told that I can't really say much about what Altered Destiny actually is. But as far as hints go, this is basically a story that takes place in another branch in time, like another timeline, because of a blip in space-time continuum. So, there was time and it was normal, and then something went like out of whack and it was like whoop, and then another timeline was created. And in that timeline, that's where this is happening. So we have to find out what exactly is happening, what is different in this timeline compared to our normal timeline. And the way that you guys can find that out is by playing the Altered Destiny dungeon that's coming in the Vortex soon. Not entirely sure how soon, but soon. Did you have anything to add about this, Risky?
Yeah, I think it's just like the team wanted to actually implement what Aidan envisioned about the like the Omni evolutions, like the what if scenario, because most of the Omni evolutions is like for each of the character they have like their alternate look or alternate timeline, but there's not much story than your own description, like than the unit owns description. So with this, we actually wanted to explore the existing character that we have here, and what if they are having a different things happening in their parallel the other timeline, the alternate timeline. So yeah, that's the only thing I can share with everyone now.
Right. And to add to that, if you guys have noticed, a lot of the global units that we released when we released them in Omni form, for global, it is a continuation of their original story, so their timeline doesn't really change. So what Risky is saying by trying to explore this like original Omni unit concept is that, by contrast, the Japanese units, the units that originate from the Japanese version, when they get made into Omni, it is kind of like an alternate version of themselves had they chosen a different path or had they made a different choice regarding like what they wanted to do in a certain point in time. So, because they didn't do that, they ended up as their 7-star form, but had they done this, they would be their Omni form now, kind of scenario. So for the units that are going to be attached to this new story, to the Altered Destiny story, these are going to be units that chose a different path or were given a different path maybe altogether, and now they exist in a different version of themselves, even though we are basically talking about the same person. So for example, one of the first units that we're going to see in the Altered Destiny timeline is somebody named Azius. I hope I'm saying that right. Now, Azius is an interesting character because I feel like his face is fairly recognizable. I don't think you don't need Sherlock Holmes to come and investigate and find out who this might be. But overall, he looks very, very different from how we have grown accustomed to seeing him in our present timeline. But I love these wings. It looks like they're literally made out of lava. They're just kind of like spewing that magma onto the floor. It matches the hair perfectly. The beautiful, wing on the shoulder. I'm digging all that. What do you think of this design, Risky?
I think, knowing what he should have been,
okay,
it looks like there are so much more like magical power or like mystical power here as compared to what he is used to.
Right.
And I'm still trying to find out how did he manage to like have fire on his head without burning to death.
Yeah. I don't know. Who are we to know what immortal beings, what the rules are with them? Nothing makes sense with them. Some of them have wings, some of them have fire hair, some of them are blind but can still see somehow. I don't know. Right. We don't know the rules that are meant for the gods or the demigods, hint, hint. But I think he looks absolutely fantastic. Very gladiator style, very reminiscent of like ancient Rome style. So really, really cool there. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But we do have another unit coming to join Azius, and her name is Elja. I hope I said that right. All those names with the apostrophe, I don't know
Yeah,
why
it's
we
hard.
choose them every single time,
Eventually
but
fancy, you know.
they're definitely not the easiest ones to read.
Right. Yeah.
So I hope I didn't butcher that completely. And now I have to tell you that when I saw this unit, I didn't even know who it was referencing. Like, I would have not been able to guess in a million years probably, unless it was like directly told to me, like it was basically this morning. But I'm not gonna tell you who it is either, so you're going to have to make your own conclusions and see if you can figure it out on your own. What I can tell you is that in this story, Elja is a being that is basically beyond death. Like, this is a being that exists neither in the now, nor, you know, the future, nor the past. This is just somebody who exists in the realm of non-existence, if that makes any sense. At least that's how I took her story to be.
Right.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding something, but she's just a power unlike any other that we've ever seen, and something that is definitely not in anyone's control. Just like, you know, death is beyond our control, it just comes for everyone. We don't have any way to stop it. In that same way, she can be considered whatever it is that happens after you die. It's the short story, I guess, which is very interesting. But what do you think of her design, Rizky?
I love the design. I think it gives the vibe of like that kind of like divine or some kind of being out of your mind kind of thing. And the peacock design is interesting because we can't really recall we have been using this kind of like pattern at all. Yeah. You see
There's a lot going
feather.
on.
Yeah, the peacock feather.
Yeah, the peacock feathers, you know, the ring, the crown, and then element-wise, it kind of looks like she has thunder around her, but then the wind is also around her, and then she's got earth splitting under her feet, so I don't know. It looks like she can do a lot for, you know, just being the one unit, so I expect great things from this Selja.
So it's going to be very interesting to see the upcoming content that the team has some plan to do, not just, you know, your usual normal Vortex, but maybe take a possibility of looking into another Grand Quest as well. So again, this is still content in development, so things might change. But it's going to be very interesting to actually uncover the altered destiny of the current characters.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'm not making much sense right now with what I'm saying. And to be quite honest with you, I don't know the full story. This is the first time that I'm hearing about it. Like, I had seen some of the character designs up to now, and I knew that there were, you know, Omni units coming, but I didn't know exactly in, like, what form they would be different. So I am also looking forward to seeing how this story develops, because it already looks and sounds very different from the story that we know, that we have been familiar with you know, for quite a few years now. So it's going to be interesting to see that unfold, for sure. All right, well, that's it for the Altered Destiny storyline coming for you guys soon. Now let's get right into the Brave Winter Festival coming for 2019. This is going to be from December 24th to January 22nd, so it's going to be, you know, from the whole holiday season, basically, for you guys to enjoy. And we are going to have a daily free summon for you guys. So we're going to have this Dawn Gate that's going to be present during this awesome winter time. But the Dawn Gate, although it's going to have like most of our favorite holiday units such as Zeruiah, Sylvie, Annette, and Bjorn and Linlin, this is not going to be a gate that you can summon with tickets that come from login. You're going to have to actually go into the Vortex and go do the dungeon, and either the tickets will drop from the dungeon itself, or you will get coins from doing the dungeon that you can then exchange for the tickets to do the summon. So even though it is a free summon, I'm giving you the disclaimer right now that you do actually have to participate in the event in order to claim your ticket, because it's not just going to be given to you this time. Okay? Did we get that clear, everyone? Okay, I don't want to hear any complaints later that nobody warned you about this, all right? But, you know, free summon is a free summon, and if it's daily, then even better, because that means a free unit every single, you know, day of the winter. So what better way to celebrate the holidays than with a brand new shiny unit every single day? I'm excited.
Right.
And I have to tell you that I literally, like maybe 3 or 4 days ago, I got my first Zeruya ever.
Wait, what?
Ever.
What? Really? You
I'm
have
not
gotten...
kidding you. I got her from, I think, one of the daily summon tickets for like the anniversary.
Really?
I was just like, you know, summoning as always, and I was just like, okay, cool. And then I summon, and it's like Zeruya, and I was like, where have you been this whole time? I remember that when she came out, I tried so hard to get her, and me and Anthony had like a pool battle of Zeruya. She had the Frosty Gate or the Winter Gate or whatever, and he got like literally like 5 of her right in front of me, and I got 0. And it has been at least, I want to say at least 3 years since then.
Wait, that
was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a Zeruya till now. So if I get another Zeruya from this winter daily free summons, so be it. But I'm just happy that she's finally like in my inventory, because it was way overdue. So if you don't have one too, then I feel your pain, and I really hope you get one for the winter. That would make a great holiday gift for you.
Dedication, Shari, dedication.
Yes, never give up and never surrender.
Never give up, yeah?
All right, so for the seasonal event, this time around, we're going to have something called The Longest Night, which is a brand new dungeon. It is about the Zartosht people, and you're going to help 2 new characters that are joining the world of Brave Frontier, who are called Armaiti and Vohu. And Armaiti is the blonde lady you can see on the left of the banner. Sorry, I'm signaling my left, but probably to you that's right. Yeah, so, you know, okay, I'll just say it. On the left of the banner, and then Vohu is the young man you can see on the right side of the banner. And it's basically just a story about how during the darkest night of the year, not so friendly things are happening in the area. And so it is important to bring back the light. And even in the longest night, we can still survive, and we can still bring back the light, which basically symbolizes the hope for humanity, right? And so in this spirit of bringing back the light, we are going to have this sphere that is basically like a candle that is burning with a flame. And the more that you upgrade it with the materials that you can get from the dungeon, you can see its shape change into a giant flame called the Atar Eternal. Okay, and just to let you guys know, the event is also going to be split up into 2 parts. One is going to be during the winter time, and one is going to be during the new year as well. So again, this spans throughout like the whole holiday season. But yes, look forward to that sphere, and make sure that you are farming every day for materials in order to, you know, strengthen that sphere that's based on the Atar Eternal, the part of the story, which I'm going to be giving you a little bit more details now that I will explain who Armaiti is. Now, Armaiti is called, she's a divine being that is called a Yazata. I don't know if it's Yazata or Yazata. I'm gonna choose for Yazata because it sounds better to me. And basically, she's a manifestation of the Zartosh people, like supreme divine being, who is known as the Lord of Wisdom. So think of the Lord of Wisdom as like the Almighty God, and then Armaiti is just kind of like a lesser version of him that is working, you know, closer to the people, the Zartosh people. And Armaiti's task is basically to guard the Atar Eternal, which is the flame that we were talking about, the sphere. And this flame is actually the soul of the Lord of Wisdom. It's basically like his heart. So if his heart stops burning, basically the Lord of Wisdom kind of stops being, and then there's no way to protect the Zartosh people. So Armaiti is the guardian of this mighty fire. She's also a very beautiful lady who is dedicated, you know, 100% to protecting her people and her home. So she's considered to be kind of like the ideal Zartosh lady. Everybody wants to be her, everybody wants to emulate her, and everybody loves her. So she is very tied to nature. These are nomadic people who go from place to place. They are very in tune with their roots, and I think you can see that from, she's barefoot, she's surrounded by flowers, the way that she's dressed. She looks very in tune with her surroundings and with nature itself. But don't be fooled by her beauty, because she's also a very mighty divine being with a lot of power that is tasked with a great destiny, like protecting the flame of the Lord of Wisdom. So, that's just a little bit on Armaiti herself. What do you think about her design, Rizky?
I just really love the simple design of the plants and the flowers here, and the color scheme is absolutely fantastic, especially for the effect.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like, Aurora things.
Right, that was the concept that the artists were working with when they were making her. She is kind of made to embody what we know as the Aurora Borealis, which is, the beautiful lights that especially shine in the winter. You can see them off like in the mountains, they change color. They're kind of like a rainbow painted, like on the sky. And I think they did a beautiful job of illustrating that. She looks absolutely amazing. I love all of her whole design. Is just absolutely amazing. Love her. Unfortunately, I don't know why we don't have Vohu on here. Probably he wasn't ready to make an appearance just yet. Yeah. But you saw the sneak peek of what he looks like on the art for the banner itself. So hopefully he'll be available for you guys soon, and you guys can take a look at Vohu as well. All right, and then with winter also comes, a different type of, what would you say? Outfit?
Yeah, outfit and style.
I mean, when the winter comes, you get cold, you gotta start wearing sweaters, you can't go outside and, your t-shirts and shorts anymore. And so somebody needed to get her winter gear on, and now she looks a little bit different than what we're used to. Now I know exactly who this is, but I think from the silhouette itself, it's really hard to tell.
Yeah, it's really hard
who this is. Like, I don't know that anybody's gonna guess this. If you do, leave a comment down below with your guess of who you think this is. But I don't know that anybody's gonna get it. I'm gonna be real surprised if you do. She looks absolutely beautiful though. I've seen the finished product.
Right.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
I'll keep your words, Shari. I think it looks really beautiful just from the posture and the silhouette itself.
Like it is very elaborate. It has a whole background attached to it.
But is it really a winter outfit? It looks like a Japanese outfit to me. I don't know.
You can tell that from the silhouette?
Yeah, it's like there's a long sleeves and that umbrella, it looks like a Japanese umbrella.
Okay.
Oh, did I get it correct?
Rizky is dropping all the hints for you guys there, you guys can see. But the hints are about the outfit itself, not necessarily about who is wearing the outfit. So I think that one is the bigger mystery. But yes, it is. I think you are correct. It is kind of like that approach, that vibe during the winter time, which makes it even more appealing to me, because I am a giant nerd and I'm just like, oh my god, kimono, like so pretty, or umbrella, like I don't know. I think us nerdy people who enjoy playing JRPGs are just eat all of that traditional Japanese imagery up. Like we're just all for it every single time. So I'm very excited for you guys to see this alternate art and what you think, and hopefully you guys are excited about it, because it's really pretty. It really is.
Yeah. And usually the alternate art doesn't really represent the usual clothing that a character will use. So even though this particular character is using Japanese clothing, she might be previously not so much of Japanese theme. Yeah,
I mean it is an alternate art for some reason. We just want to see the unit in a different, not necessarily like in a different world, but definitely in a different light. Like they can't be fighting every single day and like putting their lives on the line every single day, right? There comes some time that they have to take a break and just like have some time for themselves, and maybe when they do that, that's when they look like this. It's kind of like how I imagine it, right?
Okay.
Or maybe,
Very clear,
you know,
yeah.
she dressed up for a very special occasion. Maybe she has a really big date that she's going. We don't know that. We
Oh.
don't know what's happening in the background scenes, right? But this
Right.
alternate art will be available in the Winter Bazaar exchange. So make sure that you are, you know, farming your tokens or your coins so that you can go in there and exchange for this beautiful, beautiful art. Okay?
Alright.
Well, that's it for all of our updates today. Please stick around for the Summoner's Corner coming up next. All right, it's time for the Summoner's Corner where you guys ask all the questions and Risky has all the answers for you. The first question here is by Favex or Favex. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. But now that BF Global is in Europe, maybe we could bring the trials that were in RPG and the units that were in the Vortex and the RPG server, you know, as more content for RPG Global. So basically, all of that stuff that used to exist in the European version of Brave Frontier Global, how come, you know, what about just bringing it over to Global and just adding it as more content, Risky?
Right. So at the moment, there are work being done for the to evaluate which particular EU content that we can adapt back to the Brave Frontier Global, because not all of the content are relevant. Even if you want to bring it back, maybe we need to consider like bringing back the unit as well and bringing adjusting the difficulty, because the meta won't be the same. But currently, what it is being considered by the team is the particular content, EU content, which is the Yggdrasil. The Yggdrasil. So just look forward for the update on these particular things as well.
Okay, cool. Well, at least one thing should be making it over, and then I guess we'll see how things go from there.
Right.
There you go. Okay, question number 2 here by Aidan or Aidan. Again, I feel like I can't say names today for some reason. But will we be getting an update on the Brave Summon Pool anytime soon?
Yes, we actually will be scheduling an update for the Brave Summon Pool in the upcoming months. And there will be more details about the unit of the pool will be announced closer to the release of the update. So yeah, there will be update, and just stick around for the announcement.
There you go, Aidan. Thank you so much for your question. And our last question of the day here by Jose Arocas Collado. Hi, will you give Omni Evolution to all the batch of Mifune? So I'm guessing like Mifune's batch of units is what
Right,
he's
yeah.
referring to. And will you give a buff to the starters like Vargas or Lance?
Well, I think we have mentioned it several times, but currently we don't have any intention to update the Japan units for various reasons. Balancing the characters and resources as well. Resources as in like the team is currently still focusing on churning out new characters and even updating our existing characters, and of course DBB, coming out with a pair of DBB regularly. So unfortunately, because if you take a look at those older characters, the gap in power, making it really hard to update the unit. Because as you know, Brave Frontier is not the type of the game that has a slow increase in the unit power. The unit can be like, you know, there will be like jumped in the unit power. I think you guys are very familiar with the term itself. So unfortunately, for the older unit, it's going to be very hard for us to update. So right now, there's no plan to update the JP units, but we are going to update more and more of the global unit, like Xenia, some of the Galadron batch, and Vortex Arena Season 1 as well.
That's right.
So yeah, stick around for these updates in the coming year.
All right. And one thing we should also mention is that we know that you guys love the original units that came from the Japanese version, but I don't know that you guys are aware that whenever we want to alter anything about those units, we have to ask Aidan for their permission every single time, because this is their content that they created originally for the game. So if we want to alter these older units in any form, we have to go through this long approval process of making sure that everything is okay by ALIM standards before we can, you know, pass it on to you guys to be able to play. Whereas with the global made units, those are units that belong to us that we can decide to alter at any time and however we think is best for the game. So the approval process is basically non-existent. Everything is just internal. So from a work perspective, seeing everything that I see behind the scenes, it is like 100 times harder to, you know, make these original units step up to the current meta.
The current standard,
Not only because it is so hard to actually make them, match the power creep, but also because the approval process of even suggesting any of those changes is already like super convoluted and complicated. So that's just behind the scenes insight a little bit into the kinds of things that we face when we want to do something of this nature. So expect a lot of changes for maybe older units that exist in the global version that are original to the global version, as Rizky said before, and hopefully that's good enough to make a lot of you happy. I know that a lot of you still want changes for the older Japanese units, but we'll just have to see, I guess, what the future brings. But I think that is it for us here for the month of December. If you celebrate the holiday season, then Merry holidays to you. Happy holidays to you. Hopefully you have a wonderful time with your family, your friends, your loved ones. And once you are, celebrating with them, just, maybe have them try Brave Frontier. See if they like it. You never know. Like you're hanging out with a cousin or, an aunt or an uncle you haven't seen for a while and they're bored. Just recommend Brave Frontier and see if they like it. They might just have a little bit of time, in their morning commute to just kind of like kill, and Brave Frontier might be the game that helps them get through that commute to go to work every single day or to just pass their free time during the holiday season. So just share. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you're right in the sense that nowadays the game are getting more and more complicated in 3D graphics, landscape orientation. I personally don't really like the landscape orientation because it's very hard for you to play it in the one hand while commuting.
Yep.
And especially if you are staying in the big cities and you have to take the public transport, I think the portrait is the best.
And Brave Frontier is the best. So
Brave Frontier is very casual. It's casual enough that you don't really have to think too much other than putting in your squad configuration. And I think it's really casual, player friendly, especially for those who are into the pixel art. Of course, not everyone is into pixel art, but some people especially from our age, we are all into pixel art, all nostalgic graphics. And Brave Frontier is something that you definitely can recommend.
Exactly. So recommend it to all your family, to all your friends when you see them this holiday season. Again, we hope you have a fantastic winter and also a very happy new year, because we won't be seeing you until our January content comes. So by then it will be the new year already. So happy new year. Welcome to 2020 in the future. And we will see you, technically speaking, next year? That was a confusing one because we always shoot ahead of schedule, you know what I'm saying? So I'm confusing myself. But we will be seeing you when we have more content for next year. That one is a true statement.
Next year,
so see you then, guys. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.